Good evening to the members of the media. Difficult. I keep saying this thing and it's going to sound rhetorical at the moment, but another difficult one against a well-coached side. A well-coached side that's got a very awkward structure. And a structure that is very difficult to manage in both phases or key phases of the game. When they are in possession, they've got a different structure. When they are out of possession, they've got a different structure. In regards to when they sit in a block, because in between they look to counter-press and regain possession as quickly as possible, and they make your job very difficult in transition. And you've got to be able to neutralize certain key elements within their game, because if you don't do that, then like in the game against Chippa, like in the game against Maritzburg, they will punish you. They've got very, very quick forwards that look to play on the outlet and use the dead zones on the sides. But they've also got a very complicated build-up structure that looks to invert or a central midfielder that comes in between, a Danny Piri that comes in between Matiane and Sibisi. And then they overload the first line of build-up, and it's not easy because then you have to respond, because if you respond with a 3, then they've got a free man in the midfield because Shitolo sits with the number 15, Makubela. But then the strikers are very aggressive to go into the sides. Unox goes to the sides, Gumeda goes to the sides, so you've got to be very careful because they've got the speed for that. But our 3 centre-backs were brave today, because in certain moments they had to pick up, all 3 of them had to go aggressive one-on-one. Happy had to go one-on-one with Sabelo. Nyauza then had to go one-on-one with Knox. And Maela had to go one-on-one with Ukumed in certain moments on rest defense, so that we could push extra numbers. And even our lateral centre-backs were very brave, because you had moments when Maela would then come into the midfield and give us an extra number, which we tried to use as a possibility to create opportunities. But it wasn't to be. We created enough, arrived in the final third enough. We got into the red zone enough, but it wasn't to be. Still an issue of confidence, but we'll keep working and keep grinding away to try and get a positive result. Look, I think to answer your first question, I think the reality is, for me, I think I've always been of the opinion that regardless of club, regardless of circumstances, my first job as a head coach would always be a difficult job, because there's huge expectation. So that's the reality of the matter, and I just take it as an opportunity, because part to challenges and difficulties is opportunity. And if you are pessimistic in your view, you crumble and you don't rise above the challenges. But if you are optimistic, you look for the opportunities and you look for the positives in the situation. And that's what it is for me at the moment, is to try to say this is a moment that is you're just training your muscles. You're training the muscles of perseverance. You're training the muscles of overcoming difficulty, and it will pay off later on in my future in my career. So for me at this moment in time, all it's about is about trying to help this club overturn the difficulty, try to overturn the tide. That's my only focus. I've got another 20-30 years to coach. This period will mean something in the future, and I will only understand about why it had to happen the way it happened. I will only understand it later. At this moment in time, all I do, and the players know, all I do is I am very selfless. I put myself on the side, I put my emotions on the side, and I focus on Orlando Pirates, because for the support, the belief that they've had in me, to even give me this opportunity. You must know what this means to Orlando Pirates. To be the first black coach for this club, first black head coach for this club at my age, is enormous for this club. And it would not be, in fact, it would be really, really selfish of me to even consider and think about myself. It goes beyond that, because even really, and I elaborated on this against Amazulu. I said it goes beyond myself, and once you've been given a responsibility that goes beyond you, you must know that there's a price on the ticket, and the invoice is what we are paying for at this moment in time, because the magnitude of the expectations, the magnitude of what you are actually paying for is humongous, and no wonder the challenges are as big as it is. So that's it. That's my only focus. I don't know if I've answered.
Yes, totally. The 5 changes.
5 changes, yeah. 5 changes, difficult one, because Vincent Bule out, so you could see him on crutches, so he's out, so forced. 2 more changes, forced in a way, forced but not injury induced, okay, but forced. Performance. And then the other 2 were in relation to how we wanted to play. We wanted to play a different way. We wanted to play with a different structure. And I think you saw on the pitch today, we played very different to how we've ever played before. So we wanted to play in a different way, because we were playing against a very awkward team with an awkward shape. So we had to have a very balanced team on the pitch that, 1, could look after the ball better, and 2, could also help to exploit certain areas that we had identified through our analysis. And when you look at the game, particularly Arrows versus Bloemfontein Celtics, for an example, it gives you key areas that we wanted to exploit, and we tried to do that, but unfortunately, unfortunately, didn't go that way. The first question, I wish the FIFA break had arrived when Mitchell left, to be honest. When the transition happened, I wish we could have had a FIFA break to stabilize things, and because we've got a very, very good technical team. We've got Coach Fadlu, who's got a lot of experience. Frank Plain, who's got a lot of experience, and is a very good conditioning coach and performance analyst and enhancing coach. And we've also got a very good backroom staff that believes a lot in training, because training helps to increase the quality of performance, and the higher the quality of the performances, the better the chances of winning football matches. So we are in that space where we gladly welcome, let me tell you, and we welcome it because it also gives us a couple of days to refresh, to get some sleep, because it's been sleepless for the last couple of days. A lot of work has had to be done to try and stabilize things. But now that the ship is stable and we are unbeaten, it's perspective. People say you haven't won a game, but we are unbeaten in the last 3 matches against Amazulu, against Green Eagles, and that's the way we want to look at it. But at the same time, we know the responsibility that comes with Orlando Pirates, because draws at Orlando Pirates are still not good enough. And particularly at Orlando, you've still got to win matches. So our focus is to go into the FIFA break and try to turn these draws into wins. Austin Mowo, very good player, no doubt about that. I think you could see even glimpses of that. Not easy to have your debut at Orlando Stadium, not easy. Lots of pressure, particularly because it is Orlando, number 1, the spiritual home of Orlando Pirates. Number 2, there's a lot of expectation. And number 3, the team hasn't won matches, so there's 3 bags that he carries on his debut, which is not easy. But he showed courage, he showed character, and he fought very hard within the 10 minutes that he was given. And he shows a lot of quality. He's got a left foot that is very, very swift. He's got a very good touch on the ball. His relationship with the ball is very good. He's got the ability to play outside and inside the pitch. In other words, he can play as a 10 and he can play on the line to isolate and dribble. And he's got possibilities to play beyond the defense and score goals like he did in Zambia. So he's going to be a huge asset for the Buccaneers, and I think they can be excited with what they've seen.
Good evening to everyone. First of all, for me, maybe it's a great opportunity being part of Orlando Pirates family. So as a player, you always, when you play outside, you're always looking to play for a team like Orlando Pirates. So for me, it was a great opportunity being here. And for me, being here always is a pressure because it's a big team, and it's a team that expect more. And when they grab player like me to come here, is for me, it's always mentality of that we need to achieve something as a Pirates. So, yeah.
Yeah, first on Thabo Sinong, I think it's important to say that it's such a huge coincidence that at the same time when there's huge turning points in my career and his career, more or less at the same time. And my only thing is to wish him all the best of luck. You know, it's a difficult position to be head coach of a country, but it's a country that's within our borders, and because of that, we'll always support and give him all the support that he needs, and we wish him all the best of luck. He's a student of the game. He's a technocrat. He loves football and he breathes football, and because of that, I'm sure he will succeed. He's strong enough. He's been with Bafana. He's been with the under-20s and has got extensive experience on international football. So I think that will give him already a very good foundation to be able to lead Lesotho and help them, particularly now with Chan. I think that's his immediate focus. So for us is just to wish him the best of luck, and also because not just because he's a personal friend of mine and somebody that I've known for almost over 15 years, but he worked at Pirates, so he's a Buccaneer, and he's part of the family. When you're a Buccaneer, like they always say, once and always, you know, and he will remain part of this Pirates family forever. On Mhango, yeah, the club has always been after Mhango, even before, you know, for a very long time. He's got a very special attribute that you don't find with a lot of offensive players. His ability to smell moments where he can assist the team defensively. You don't find a lot of offensive players that have that. And Mhango's got this innate ability to smell when possession is about to be lost. And that assists the team with a lot with the counter pressing and the high pressing. It would be interesting to see, in fact, that which is something we'll go deeper in to see how many regains Mhango has had in the final third since he's arrived, because his work rate is unbelievable. He's extremely selfless, which is a huge characteristic that you need to be an Orlando Pirates. You've got to be selfless, and you've really got to put the badge first and give your all for the team, because you've got to do movements that create spaces for others. You've got to initiate high pressing moments, and then lastly, I think everybody knows his ability to dribble and to be a threat in the final third. And you can see that with a little bit more training, with a little bit more adaptation to how we play, he's going to fit into the game model like a glove. It's unfortunate he goes to the national team for the FIFA break, but because we need to work a bit, you know. But it's unfortunate, but he goes there, and he goes there with our blessings, and hopefully he goes there and he scores a couple of goals and he comes back with more confidence, so that confidence can rub off onto his teammates and particularly also onto the club and help us to get goals, because at the end of the day, no matter how hard you work without the ball, no matter how hard you work to create spaces, to press, to regain possession, etc., which are things that he does, and he does extremely well. But I say to him all the time, he's like a mad dog. Once we've lost possession, he's a mad dog. He hunts for the bone and he doesn't give up, you know. And it's good for the club to have a player like Mhango. because he's a difference maker, and hopefully, like I say, he can go to the national team, score some goals, and come back with more confidence. Yeah, I think an institution like Orlando Pirates that has several layers is important for me to respect your question, particularly with regards to transfers, but also to allow the institution to deal with, and the people that deal with that, to be able to answer those sort of questions, because it doesn't fall within my direct jurisdiction at this moment in time. So I'd like not to delve too much into that. The first question is an interesting one, because at this moment in time, when you are low on confidence, it's not necessarily, like you say, 100% about working on the pitch and working on tactics. You've got to find other forms and other ways of stimulating the players to improve the level, because as you can see, a lot of teams, because we've done so well, play with a reinforced block, which means they get numbers behind the ball. Now, if you do not have all the four superiorities in modern football, at this moment we try with structural changes, tweaks here and there, to make sure that we have positional superiority in trying to get players in the right positions to be able to give us something. We try to have some form of organizational superiority, but the reality also is you need also qualitative superiority. You need players. You watch Manchester City, teams sit back, but Raheem Sterling comes in and he does something. Aguero comes in and he does something. So the two superiorities that we unfortunately at this moment are lacking is qualitative. We have the quality with the players, but unfortunately we're lacking the confidence in those quality players, and we have to work on that. So to improve our qualitative superiority, to be able to beat the block, and then to work on cohesive superiority, which is a key component of big clubs. If movements are not automized and schemes and organizational forms are not right, then you don't give yourself a chance to win football matches. So we're focusing on trying to work on that and find different ways to stimulate the performance, not just from an individual perspective with our players, but also and that's why I said I hope Mhango goes to the national team and scores goals and gets his confidence up, because that's also one of the ways that you can stimulate performances. So yeah, we'll find a lot of solutions. We're working around the clock. Like I said, we've got a very good technical team. We've got a very good group of analysts that work very, very hard. Michael, Darian, Kyle, they work extremely hard to provide us with the right data. We've got sports science and people like Warren and Steve who support us with regards to all of that. So we will try our best to make sure that we find the right solutions to be able to overturn the tide. And it's a collective. It's in all of us collective. We'll put our heads together and find different mechanisms to stimulate the performance and come back stronger in the second round, or after the FIFA break rather.
So how do you plan on fixing that?
Yeah, guys, we're a technical team that believes in training. This is the same group of players, and we shouldn't forget that we went 22 games unbeaten last season. Same group of players that made sure that they push for the title last season. So you can't become bad overnight. You don't become a bad team overnight. It's not possible. But you can go through a cycle, and every team goes through a cycle. Real Madrid last season went through a cycle. Manchester United went through a cycle, and still are going through a cycle. It's not easy. Manchester City last season went through a cycle where they were 12 points behind Liverpool. Every team goes through its cycle. Like I said, it's about perspective. The good thing about our cycle is that it comes nice and early in the season, and we've got enough time to be able to grab hold of it and not allow it to continue. But we are a technical team, like I said, that believes in training, and we want to put in a lot of work into the team and try to remind the players, not even to convince them, because they know that they've got the quality to overturn it, but it's just to remind them of how we went 22 games unbeaten last season, how we were a very dominant force last season, and how we played some of the best football in South African football last season. That's our focus, is to remind them, because once we can capture the brain, and because for sure you can see, and without the heart there's no intensity. So once we can recapture the brain and it is supported by the heart, I think things will stabilize and the results will start to come again. Sure. Squad is big. It goes back to the transfer issue. I'd like not to speak about transfers because I've got to respect our institution and I've got to respect other institutions. So I'd rather not speak about transfers, to be honest with you. Bafana. Look, I don't mind whether it's an international or a foreign coach, to be honest. I think the best man for the job must get it. The best man for the job must get it. And I don't know who the best man for the job is, but I think the best man for the job, I've got my own issues. I've got a very hot seat that I've got to sit on, and I can't recommend another person to be sitting on another hot seat. It becomes very difficult. But if you were, do you guys have a national team coach? Mhango's national team also does not. But yeah, like I say, no. I think the best guy for the job must get it. And we've got in our country, to be honest. Oh, yeah, we've got.
Kevin Benio Opito.
The one that sent me an SMS, I think, without mentioning names, someone sent me an SMS. In fact, there's a couple that sent me an SMS that are local, so it's up to you. It's not my game, to be honest. Sorry.
That note, we've come to the conclusion of the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.